Hello together and welcome to our technical session today. We will give a short look at generative AI using the Microsoft Azure OpenAI platform. So if you want to create a solution similar to ChatGPT to extend the functionalities of your applications, it's possible and quite simple to use Azure OpenAI as a platform, as solution to connect to your application and just extend or offer such kind of functionality. But today it's just a short introduction. So if you want to create such an application, you first need the Azure OpenAI license in your Azure platform. So when you have, there is a previous video where I explain how to activate the Azure AI service in your Azure platform, because you need to activate it in advance to be able to create an Azure OpenAI service. Here, an example of this one is a service that I have already created. And so when you have created a service, you will be able to open this service and to open the Azure OpenAI Studio. As when I click here, then another tab will open. And now we will be inside of the Azure OpenAI Studio. Yes, inside of Azure OpenAI Studio, we will then be able to deploy a model. Yes, this model will implement the algorithm to manage all the requests that you will then use to get answer to all your questions. Yes. Now that this Azure OpenAI Studio pop up, you will see here that we have different options or possibilities in the left-hand navigation. We have the possibility also to create a DAL-E for image generation. We have a chatbot. That means here we have the possibility to test our model, and we have here the different models. That is the most important part in this first session, where you can see all the models that Microsoft has already deployed in the Azure OpenAI backend. So we have the possibility to use the GPT-4 models. You have always the version of each of these models here, and you can use one of them just to create your own application. In this case, when we want to deploy one of these models, because Microsoft has already, these models are available in Azure OpenAI platform, but if you want to create your own application, so you need to deploy one of these models into your OpenAI Studio. And for that, you have to go here on deployment. And under deployment now, I can create a new deployment. That means I will make an existing model available for my application. So in this case, there are different models that we see on the models that are available here. If you want to create a DAL-E model, if you want to deploy a DAL-E model in your application, then you can select DAL-E. In this case, I would like to deploy a GPT-35 Turbo, because to use one of these models here, to deploy one of these models, you need again to fill a request and to be validated. If I take, for example, GPT-4, then you see that here there is a quota that should be available, and actually I have no quota. That means I need to fill a form here to request that this GPT-4 should be available in my OpenAI Studio. Now that I have not filled it until now, I can just show you when I click here on this request form, you will have a form that you have to fill out. Yes, to fill the form out, you need some information that resides into your portal. Yes, in this case, here when we click on this form, then I can select the form, the model I need here, depending on your license here. You can select the model here, but this is not our focus now. Let us just go back. Normally a form should open, but it leads me to the different model existing. So let us go back and focus on how to deploy a model. So, and I click here on create a deployment, then I want to select here a model that I have already the validation to. This is GPT-35 Turbo. When I select this, because I already get the validation to use it, so now I will call this here ShareForce 7 GPT. Oh no, I have first to put it here in German. GPT-35 Turbo. Okay, this is the name of my model. I can call it here training. Yes, I just want to make a distinction, because you have the possibility to deploy many models and you need to remember the name of your model. So now this is the model, and we have to select here which model version, because we have for the same model you have different versions, and you have to be aware about which version you are using. Yes, we have the auto update default. That means when you use this one, when there is an update of this model, you will always use the updated version. But if you use an older, a specific version of this model, you have to be aware that this specific version is trained on a standard quantity of data on market. So you have to be aware that maybe if an information is missing, you have to be aware about the date of this deployed version. So I would take, in my case here, this auto update default version, and we can select here the type of the deployment. In this case, we have just a standard here, and one important information here is also the token, the limit of token per second. So in my case, I would just put it here because it's just a demonstration. Let us keep it to 5 or 7,000 a token here limit. That this will impact the size of the response, the information that you will get as a response. This will impact the size of the information that you will get as a response. So, and we will enable here dynamic quota, and I will create here. And that means now I'm deploying a model that already exists in Azure OpenAI now into my own, for my tenant, Azure OpenAI Studio. Now, this deployment has a name. This is the name of this deployment. Yes, and this is important when you want to connect using an application to your model. We will also have a next session where I will show you how to use C# or Python to call this model and request using a prompt to connect to this model and get information over the Azure OpenAI API. So now I have deployed my model. That means when we click here on deployment, you see that we have a new deployment. We have the name of the model that we are using. We have here the version of the model that is deployed now, and we have the deployment type. We have the capacity, that is important, and we have here the status if this model is successfully deployed, and we have here the model retirement date, and we have some default information here, the size limit and the update. It was lastly updated in September, 12th of September of July, sorry, 2024. Now that this model is deployed here, how can we use it? Yes, because we have deployed now a new model in our tenant. So we have the possibility to test it by clicking here on chat, and we have here a front end that we can use to connect to our model. So to connect to this model, when I click here on chat, we have the possibility here on the in the right hand, we see here the deployment. We will see in this drop down all the models that are deployed, and here I will select the model that I have currently deployed. And you can see also here, when you come here, you see some attribute about this model, because in some case you can have different models deployed. And here we have also the possibility to customize these models, yes. And you have also here some parameters. We will give a short look at this configuration in a later session. And we have also on the left hand here, when we are using this model, that we can make some customization here about to specify the AI environment that is in use. So in this case now, I have deployed my model and I want to use this model and want to use a prompt. This is a prompt that is deployed in the Azure OpenAI Studio, similar to ChatGPT front end. So I can write a request here and I can say here, for example, how I can say hi. If I just say here, hi, see, I will get a response from my model. This is the model I have deployed, and I now can start a chat using this model. And I can ask here, how can I create or how can I deploy a model in Azure OpenAI Studio? Yes, this is my question, and I will get a response to this from this model. And you see here is the response. Yes, I think for today is enough. So in the next session, we will give a look on other functionalities, other possibilities that we have here to really use or deploy also this application now to be reusable in different scenarios in your company, or to deploy this application directly in your Azure as an application. Best thanks for connecting to my channel. Hope that if you have more interest to the topic OpenAI, Azure OpenAI Generative AI, or even if you need the training about these topics, you can just write to Share47, or you can just write in the chat and we will see what is the next topic you are interested in. Best thanks and see you next.